Hey everyone, this is just a condensed version of my 12 individual skull location videos for anyone who prefers this format. The first skull in Halo Infinite can be found during the first mission on Warship Gbraakon. Shortly after you find the first UNSC audio log and some frag grenades, you will enter this room here, which has some enemies you'll need to clear. Once they are gone, just make your way up to this catwalk here on the right and go to the second set of ascending containers. Ride a container up and hop over to the elevated stationary container where you can claim the Boom Skull, which doubles the radius of all explosions. The second skull in Halo Infinite's campaign can be found during the second mission in the Foundation. After meeting your new AI companion, you will be brought to this room. Just ignore the ghost child from Mass Effect 3 and head down the hallway. Clear out some enemies in this large room and look up to your right. There is a small perch up near the ceiling that you can reach with 2 well-placed grapple shots. Once there, you can claim the Cowbell Skull, which increases the acceleration from explosions. The third skull in Halo Infinite's campaign can be found in the open world just north of Outpost Tremonius. You'll need to cross over to the other landmass, which I did by going up the mountainside behind Outpost Tremonius, which gave me access to a narrow gap that I was capable of crossing with just the standard grapple shot. Once there, you'll need to make your way north to where I am now, and so I was playing on legendary difficulty and therefore could not handle the hunters. So what I did instead was drag them away from the skull and then duck behind a hill to break line of sight with them. Then I proceeded to sneak around the mountainside with the grapple shot, dropping down behind them and grabbing the cat skull from the hollowed out tree trunk, which causes enemies to throw and drop more grenades. The fourth skull in Halo Infinite's campaign can be found in the open world on top of the tower location. I was able to take this path to the top of the tower and it only required the standard grapple shot. Just carefully place your shot to swing around and up onto the ledge, then proceed to the tower top where you can claim the I would have been your daddy skull, which causes rare combat dialogue to become more common. The fifth skull in Halo Infinite's campaign can be found in the open world just south of Outpost Tremonius. You'll need to first complete the recovery mission and unlock fast travel before doing this. Once you do, this gate at Outpost Tremonius should be open and you can leave the base heading south. Once you arrive at this location and clear out the surrounding enemies, drop down to this area here and continue along the edge path. Past the Easter egg doll and grapple shot over to these pillars, there is a chute that you can grapple shot up again, and then follow the creepy sounds to find and claim the fog skull, which disables your motion tracker. Skull number 6 in the Halo Infinite campaign can be found in the open world just south of the tower, and more specifically I'm starting near the Carrera Squad waypoint. Hopefully you have the quick shot upgrade by now because it will make everything much easier, but you should be able to make it to this skull with the default grapple shot so long as you aim well. Climb up along the edge of the ravine until you reach this point here where you'll want to grapple over to this hexagon. The skull is down below in a nook that's across the gap, but if you try to grapple across the gap from this location, it ends up just pulling you down into the void, so instead you'll want to grapple up and around and get a proper landing above. From this point you can leap and grapple over, but you need to get the grapple just right or else again you'll probably just get pulled down into the void. Landing on this nook, you should see the blind skull, which disables all HUD elements. To get out of this pit, you can take the long way up or just fast travel. The seventh skull in Halo Infinite's campaign can be found in the open world once you've reached this sequence mission and activated this bridge here. Immediately after, there should be 2 banshees you can grapplejack to steal. Quickly fly over to the small island north of the command spire. Near the top you can find and claim the Famine Skull, which halves the amount of ammo found in weapons dropped by enemies. From there, fly west to the point shown on the map where you will find a waterfall. It can be hard to make out, but there is a small opening near the right side of the waterfall about halfway up. grapple up to it and duck on through to claim the Black Eye Skull, which will only allow shields to regenerate by punching enemies. From there, fly northwest until reaching this point near where the Pelican Down mission took place. Sitting pretty high up on a single hexagon is the Thunderstorm Skull, which upgrades the rank of most enemies. The 10th skull in Halo Infinite's campaign can be found during the Command Spire mission, not to be confused with the similarly named Spire mission, which occurs earlier in the campaign. So during the Command Spire mission, you'll want to get to this point here where the hexagonal pillars are getting carved up with details, and there will be some enemies that you have to clear out. Follow the pillars after they get carved up into the very next room where they rotate with the details already inscribed, and you can grapple shot up onto it and then grapple up to the chamber above, where you should find a door that you can go through to claim the Mythic Skull, which increases enemy health. The 11th skull in Halo Infinite's campaign can be found during the Repository mission, and this skull requires 2 steps to get. The first part is right after a cutscene about 10 minutes into the mission, where the game resumes with you standing in this central room. You will need to go over to the room on the right side of this area and pick up a power seed. It's definitely easier to go along the walls with the grapple shot, but I took the shorter and fancier route. After grabbing the power seed, return to the central chamber and then head over to the room on the opposite side, where you can find a crucible to insert the power seed into. A chime will sound letting you know that you did something, at which point you can continue proceeding through the mission. A brief conversation with your AI companion will let you know you're getting close before you reach this room here, where you'll have to clear out some bad guys. Once they are all handled, scale one of these 2 struts to reach a room that should be opened if you completed step 1 earlier in the mission. The skull is in the back, but you will probably need to kill the 4 camouflaged elites with swords guarding it before you can grab it. So the threat sensor is recommended, especially if you are playing on Legendary like me. Once you clear the room, just head in and claim your Grunt birthday party skull, which causes confetti and cheers to burst forth from any grunts that you eliminate with a headshot. The 12th and final skull in Halo Infinite's campaign can be found during the Silent Auditorium mission and has a very specific requirement to get. You cannot destroy, and to be safe, let's just say you cannot harm any of the Sentinel enemies during the mission. Basically, you have to just run past and avoid them. Assuming you can do that, when you enter this room with a long walkway heading to an elevator, which is right near the end of the mission, you should see the door on the opposite side of where you entered glowing blue, allowing you to go through and claim the Bandana Skull, which gives you infinite ammo and removes the cooldown from all abilities. If it is gray and locked, it means you destroyed or harmed a Sentinel and need to restart the mission to try again. I add this harmed qualifier because this happened to me even though I was pretty sure I didn't destroy any Sentinels and I was playing on Legendary, and having to restart the mission was terrible. So here is some extended advice on how to get this skull even on Legendary to help you avoid that soul-crushing experience. For the first few beats of this mission, you can just take your time and work through the enemies as there will be no Sentinels to worry about. Once you clear this room with the 2 banished hunters is when you need to start being cautious. There is one more room with only banished enemies, and I recommend clearing them all out so you can get a final checkpoint before getting to the areas with all the Sentinels. From that point on, I went full pacifist mode, just running past everything. This is most difficult in the first area, which is packed with banished and Sentinels alike, but there's a really good strategy to avoid enemy fire, assuming 343 doesn't patch it out. So when entering this room, hug along the left wall and just continue down until it opens up to a cavern beneath. There's actually these struts that you can grapple to and stand on, passing from one to the next while avoiding enemy fire. Quickly swing up and through the midway door, and then repeat the process through the second half of this area. And I would recommend using your flashlight to see where you are going. It's still a little dicey trying to get back topside and through the checkpoint door, but it only took me 1 or 2 attempts once I figured out this trick. Then we've got to get through this room here, which is much easier. I just grappled up way out of reach and then swung to the other side, dropped down, and to the next checkpoint we go. Finally, there is one more group of enemies to get past, and I'm not sure if there are even any sentinels to avoid killing, but I just grappled on past them to safety anyways. And that's pretty much it. You should definitely be able to get this final skull and complete your collection if you follow all those steps. If you want to be notified when I put out more guide videos for the Halo Infinite campaign, consider subscribing. You're helping me feed my cat. Her name's Marshmallow. Have a great day if you're here today, have a great Friday, and a great weekend, and as always,
thanks for watching.